guys, it's Steph, and today I'm delivering you our movement of the week, which is a lunge. So lunges are one of my favorite exercises because I think they're really great for beginners, anyone that's just getting into movement, but you can also make them very challenging and advanced. So I also love lunges because they're unilateral, meaning that they're working one side at a time. So it's really great to help us work on imbalances, maybe on one side versus the other. And we can add some fun variations to kind of mix it up with this exercise. So I'm going to talk about a basic lunge today. No weight, where our body's at, what muscles do we want to engage, and let's talk a little bit about the upper body as well, because although lunges are a predominantly lower body move, we want to make sure that we're getting the most out of it, engaging our core and taking care of our spine also. So we want to start by having feet hips width apart in a lunge. So a lot of times we tend to lose our balance in lunges because we're almost like we're walking on a tightrope. We're stepping directly behind that front foot, or maybe our feet are really close to start. So always start with your base, the foundation, which is just feet hips width apart. So I like to do a lot of my lunges stepping back, and that's simply because I think when we step forward, we tend to push a little bit into that front knee and maybe add a little bit more kind of compression into the knee than necessary. So stepping back, we can control a little bit more. We can also focus on the distance of how far we're stepping back. So a lot of times what I'll see is people tend to step back too far, and what that actually does is puts more strain on the hip and extends the leg versus engaging the muscles. So we talk about this in yoga a lot, because a traditional high lunge in yoga tends to have a really wide stance, super low, and it's not the best way to engage the muscles. So we want to think about, as we step back, we're going to stack the back knee about underneath the hip, and then front knee is either going to stay over the ankle or maybe slightly past, just making sure it doesn't go over that front toe. So we don't want to be all the way here. All right, so thinking about this position, notice where my pelvis is and my hips. All right, so if I stepped further back, I'd be dumping forward, and I'm only really feeling it in my hip joint, versus I take it in a little bit, bend the knee under the hip, and I got my quad firing right away, which is where we want to feel it. Quad in the back leg, and then I can feel the glutes and the hamstrings in that front leg. So it's lower body, but also thinking about my core and my pelvis. So here, my pelvis is pretty much neutral. I'm not tilting forward, and I'm not tucking in. So it's pretty neutral. My core is engaged, my chest is up, shoulders back. And then I can maybe alternate, or maybe add some dumbbells, some weights in. But what I tend to see sometimes is when we lunge back, maybe chest coming forward, or even lunging forward, leaning forward. So we're kind of losing the strength of the rest of the body. So like I said, even though it's a lower body predominant move, we want to focus on what's the rest of the body doing as well, so we can get the most bang for our buck doing this exercise. So biggest thing you want to think about, stepping back so that the back knee is under the hip, feel the quads engage, feel the glutes and the hamstrings in the front leg. Now maybe you go all the way down, maybe you don't. Listen to your body, notice how it feels on your knees. Maybe that's too far for you, and that's fine. You don't have to touch the ground, not necessary. And then we go into the other side. So focusing on core, shoulders, pelvis. There's a lot going on here. And like I said, focusing on it as a total body move. So don't just think about it as a leg exercise. Think about it for balance, core and spinal stability, glutes, hamstrings, quads, and also just kind of finding how far you need to be when you go back, or how far your hips are apart. So there's a lot that goes into a lunge, so just make sure that you're focusing on good form when you do it. Keep the chest up, keep the core engaged, and try out some different variations.